Welcome everybody. My name is Arnaud Polaris. I'm a researcher at the University Libre de Bruxelles and I'm a team member in the machine learning group. Introduction. Let us have two dependent variables, A and B, assuming no cycle. Here is then three different possible models to explain their dependence. Either A causes B, or B causes A, or there is a latent confounder U, which is causing both A and B. So how to choose between the three explanations? And more specifically, if A and B were also latent, but measured by children variables called indicators, how to infer causation or not in a pair of linearly correlated continuous latent variable? Assuming linearity and non-normal distribution, there is my concern in this presentation. Problem setting. Imagine two models to discriminate using observational data. In model 0, which is a confounding model, you have latent variable xi and eta, which are both consequences of a hidden latent confounder u. In model 1, there is a causation between xi and eta. In both models, xi and eta are latent and indirectly measured by indicator like x1, which has also a specific noise. So the point is now how to make the distinction between model 0 and model 1 using observational data. Direction dependence analysis, DDA, is a state-of-the-art method, so we'll first have a look at this. DDA is in fact a set of three components to find the causal direction. In DDA, we will have a specific interest at the independence component because this component is recommended if you have a possible confounder, and that's our case here. For the DDA independence component, there is an algorithm already well established in machine learning. First, you fit a regression model of y on x. After it, you test whether the residual is independent of x. Then, you repeat the procedure by exchanging the roles of x and y. And if the independence is accepted in one direction and rejected for the other one, so you infer the former one as the causal direction. Furthermore, for DDA, if the independence is rejected for both directions, it means it could be a confounder case. But DDA independence component also has limitations when applied on latent variables. First, you have a two independence test to apply. But to infer a causation, you need to have one non-significant result. But if you have a non-significant result, it's in no way a proof for independence. Second, DDA doesn't exploit all the variable information in measures of dependence. A continuum of dependency can exist, but after applying the test, you will only have two categories, dependence versus independence. In latent cases, for example, model 0 and 1 above, the distinction between presence of a confounder and causation can be confused. For example, looking at model 1, you can have xi, which is in the same time a cause of eta, but also a confounder between every observed indicator, so x1, x2, x3, but also indirectly y1, y2, and y3. Furthermore, a second point is, if the DDA independence component concludes there is a confounder, what about the causal direction for a possible causation? Can we have this model or this one? Latent causation algorithm, LC. So we propose another algorithm for continuous latent variables. We are still assuming linearity and non-normal distribution. LC main steps are: first, based on data from two groups of indicators, compute vector scores separately. Apply on this pair the same procedure as the DDA independent component until to get both statistics of dependence, one dependency for each direction. But, unlike classical DDA independence component, LC computes the difference between both dependencies. 4. Repeat step 1, 2, and 3 on Bootstrap datasets. Save each difference in 3 and use a percentile confidence interval to assess the significativity of a consensus between differences. So, of course, because we have to assess the dependency, we can have different measures and we will compare them in the results. First, we will compare the DDA independence component applied on factor scores with the LC algorithm. So, to do it, we will generate 1,000 datasets for each model 0 and model 1. Then, we apply the DDA independence component and LC on each sample. So, looking at the result in the red area, we can see for DDA using HSIC Gamma or HSIC Bootstrap, an important number of false causation inferred in a confounder case. It's far above the maximum 5% allowed. If we compare with LC result in the blue area, we can see the maximum of 5% is always respected. Now, if we look at the true causal model 1, it appears in the green area the only remaining DDA variant, I mean DDA D-core, retrieves less often the correct causation compared with the LC variants. So, LC algorithm seems to perform better. We also made additional analysis on LC variants to see the ability of LC to retrieve the correct causation from model 1 increases for larger sample sizes. The proportion of false causations for model 0 stays below the alpha specified threshold when it varies. Globally, performances of the variants are quite similar, except for the variant using Spearman correlations, which is weaker. We also wanted to know if a confounder can influence LC when its correlations with latency or eta or its distributions varies. And here you can see variations based on model 0. Unfortunately, it has an impact. However, D-core p-value variants show more robustness, probably because each bootstrap p-value is estimated with a small random noise able to hide a small recurrent bias due to the presence of an asymmetric, strongly correlated U with either Xi or eta. Conclusions. In our results for pairs of latent variables, LC seems better suited than classical DDA to differentiate causation and confounder patterns. So, maybe bootstrapped differences of independence could enrich DDA. But LC also needs improvements. For example, by considering additional variations of the method or looking at ways to improve the robustness. Future research could also look at relaxing some LC assumptions, test the algorithm on additional models, and, of course, LC should also be tested on real data in the future. So, here is the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for having listened to me, and please don't hesitate to ask me if you have some questions. You are welcome.